Welcome to our town hall meeting. Valda will be here in a few moments, but we might as well get started. One of the ways in which we've conducted our town hall meetings is to ask for or entertain questions or comments, or people may have things to share. And so we do have a question that I'll get to in a couple of minutes that someone submitted that I think will kick us off. So well, let me check in with Valda to see. She's going to be here in 1 minute, she says. So I'll wait to pose the question. I told her about it earlier, so she knows the question that was asked. But if anyone else has any questions, please jot them down or ask them if you care to. We'd be happy to take a stab at it. The question that we had from Barbara is about relationships and how the principles can help people with in relationships, and in particular, here's my partner in crime.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Thanks, Hank, for doing this.
Yeah. Look at all these people, sweet.
I thought that was Hank.
Well, that is Hank. That's an old.
This is no fair. Tricking me like that.
We have two Hanks.
Yeah, with different hair.
Yeah.
I think I can't quite see the top of his head.
Yeah.
Well, are you Hank number 1 and he's Hank number 2, or is he Hank number 1 and you're Hank number 2?
It only works one way, so there's only one Hank, really.
Oh,
The other one is the illusion.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a trick question. That's good.
Yeah.
Good answer.
You can see the other Hank is your evil twin, and so he does all the bad that you do. So we had a question, and so maybe we'll just launch out with a question, and that'll be a great place to start. Is that, if that sounds okay with anyone? Any objections? Speak or forever hold your peace. But Barbara asked about the principles and how they can help people communicate, and in particular, especially in relationships. How do the principles impact relationships so that we can find ourselves being better communicators? And we'd love to speak to that, just to get us started. Okay. Do you have anything you'd like to say, sweet?
Sure. I think I would just probably get divorced about every 3 years if I didn't know the principles. That was basically my MO before I found the principles, or they found me. I'm not quite sure what happened there. I started off, I was so fortunate I got to go listen to Sydney talk. And we used to live on the West Coast. And so we would drive up to Salt Spring and then drive back to the Bay Area. And so on the way back from Salt Spring back to the Bay Area, I was uncharacteristically quiet. And at some point he says, "Val, how are you doing And I said, well, not very good. He says, well, what's the matter? I said, well, I said, I thought I had better thinking than this. And he said, I don't know what you mean. And I said, well, I'm thinking about something that happened to me 10 years ago. It's not happening anymore. My life is completely different, but I'm fretting about it. And I just keep thinking about it and wishing I could have done better, but I just didn't know how to. And so it was that I had been characteristically married 3 years before that 10-year period, but then I got a divorce. But my first husband, I've only had two. I've got the second one now, and I'm in with him. But the first one, he did say he spent money that he had given to me. I wasn't even thinking about it. I kept the books. We didn't have much money left over anyway. Left over, as if there's such a thing. And so he says, he says, I've been spending the leftover money. And I thought, oh, that's what's going on. And he said, I think that there's some money left over, as he called it. He said, I think you should have it. And I said, well, that's very nice. I said, thank you. Thank you very much. And I literally had not, there wasn't a thing I thought I needed to buy. I was fine. So anyway, this came as a surprise that he was going to have a little generosity, was a surprise from him. But I really appreciated it. And then a week down, I just thought, well, I'll just leave it in there for emergencies. That's what my dad would have told me to do. So that's what I was going to do. But I didn't think to tell him that. And then in a week, he walks in with a rifle scope. And I didn't even know he had a rifle. Money was just burning a hole in his pocket, I think. And he says, I said, what's that? He says, it's a rifle scope. I said, for you? He said, yeah. I said, oh. I said, is that the money that you spend, the money you gave me? And he said, well, yes, I did. He said, you didn't spend it. He said, I figured it was okay. And I said, I see. I said, I was going to keep it for emergencies, just to let you know. And I just got really mad at him for being disrespectful, selfish. I probably had a few more words in there. And so I just got really mad at him. And anytime, sometimes people used to get in a circle or something, and they would tell their sad story. I've had a really nice life, and that was my sad story. My ex-husband spent the money he gave me, and I thought it was disrespectful, which I don't like that at all. But anyway, so now I didn't know I had gotten divorced 10 years before. Keith and I are riding on the road, getting back to the Bay Area. And he says, well, what have you got on? I said, I'm thinking about something that John did 10 years ago. I said, I know exactly when it was. And I said, and he's not even here anymore. And why am I letting this ruin a perfectly nice day? I thought I had better thinking than this, and I'm disappointed in myself. And what was it that you asked me? Oh, he said, may I ask you a question? I said, sure. He said, have you ever seen your thinking this deeply before? I said, no, never. I said, I honestly didn't know that I was doing it. I said, this is coming as quite a surprise to me. Thought I had something better going on, but I don't. And so then,
I think, I don't know if it was then though, too. I also mentioned, I mean, at some point I mentioned, you've told that story many times since we've been together, and I would always feel like, I always thought and felt that, well, I'm glad he treated her so badly because now she's married to me. And so I felt like I was the winner. That was my thinking about her. It was sobering to her that she saw, I think you saw that you were visiting this painful past, and you were disappointed in yourself.
absolutely. Sid was talking about something other than that. And I knew he was talking about thought. And I realized, I thought, oh, look what I'm doing in my thought. This isn't good. And I'm not, I don't feel, I'm not saying here's a good idea. So then insights started coming to me. And one of the insights was, do you know another way, another response to this type of a thing? And I was completely sincere. And the answer is no, I don't. I thought I've never had any other thought other than judgment. And what else would I have said?
Maybe criticism or
Probably some.
kind of righteous indignation.
Oh, yes.
You were. Let me tell you what John did. One of the many things that John did.
Which in my mind, I would have been something I would have never done to another person.
Yeah.
I would never have told them I was going to give them this money and then go spend it. I just wouldn't do that to another anybody, much less another mate. So the question of, do you know another way? And I came up with nothing. I thought, well, have to accept that. And I don't know, I think I couldn't really find anything else to think about it at that time. Nothing else came to mind. And I thought, well, you never know. Look what came to mind for Sid. Big difference in his life. And I wasn't thinking I was going to be on the level of Sid, but I thought something could happen here for me, new rather than what's been going on for the last 10 years. So I just thought, well, we'll see. And I literally could sit in the unknown in hope. I realized that was part of what I had on my side, was hope, which was really nice because of what I had seen happen to Sid. So then about 3 days later, I hadn't thought about it another time, and I was working, and the word, remember?
Compassion.
Yeah, the word compassion, he knows this better than I do. The word compassion came to me, and I thought, what's that doing here? And I kind of shooed it away, and I thought, I'm gonna get back to work here. I don't have time for that. And then it came back again, and I thought, it's back again. Shoo, shoo. And then, got back to work again, and then it came a third or fourth time. And then finally I thought, oh, okay, what is this about? Why is this word flitting around? And then it just insightfully just came out of nowhere to me. This is about that stuff you were thinking about, John and Sid. And I thought, you're kidding. Well, how does compassion, I don't even get how it fits. I couldn't see that compassion would be a far better solution than judgment and criticism. But it was there, and then it just, I don't know, insightfully once again, it just dawned on me, oh, it was like the guy made a mistake. And I thought, oh, the guy made a mistake. I thought, I make mistakes all the time. Everybody makes mistakes. This is part of the human condition, is that we all make mistakes. We're born making mistakes and we die making mistakes. And so then I felt completely different about John. And I thought, and what's up with me with all the criticism? As if I don't make mistakes, because that's not true. I do. And so then it was just clearly, we're all in the same boat. We all get fooled by the same thing. And I really don't have any judgment or criticism left about John. I know the guy made a mistake, and everybody makes mistakes. And that's how we're all the same. And I don't know, these were just big, huge life lessons, learning them insightfully, which I could tell, because I wasn't grinding on this stuff. I was just sitting there, and it's just hitting me and hitting me and hitting me. So I thought, I have no judgment left about him at all. I have great compassion for every human being, because what we all get confused about, we think that our feelings are coming from something other than thought in the moment. And everybody gets fooled by that. Go ahead.
I think that's one of the beautiful benefits of this realization of the principles, or how life works, or how thinking works, that we're, because you become more consciously aware of your own self. You find out more about yourself, and then you find out more about yourself, and then more and more, like it keeps bouncing back in a way, like there's a feedback truth, and that truth is the same for there's one truth that's the same for everyone, and that one truth is radiates back to me, and I think that's potentiates change, potentiates the good things that we really need in life: the humility, the compassion, the sense of forgiveness, the sense of love, and generosity of spirit, sense of connection to others. And you realize your own missteps, your own self-corrections that need to be found, but you find them more readily if you're not projecting your feelings onto objects and other people and other events, even 10-year-old events. That Valdo was habitually going over and talking about, and then going over and talking about, and that was just a microcosm of things that would plague her from the past and plague all of us from the past via our thought, innocently suffering, innocently creating ill will or superiority or egotism in one way or another. And the principles undercut that blindness. And it reminds you of something more basic, you know, it reminds you of love. It reminds you of a feeling of love. And so I think that's one of the things that it helps us all in relationships, because you find a deeper love, you find a deeper humility, and you see the error of your ways, and the error of your ways is so so helpful. But other people don't have to really even necessarily point them up. You see because you see it for yourself. You see the error of your ways for yourself, and that really wakes you up to yourself, to your connection to the divine, and you get over yourself more readily, and then more readily, and then more readily again, and that really helps you. It's interesting because it's funny that would help you in relationships, but you see the logic of it. Of course it would, because you're helping yourself, so you bring more of yourself to life and into your relationship. So when Valda saw that for herself, she became more and she realized that she makes mistakes, and John made mistakes, and I make mistakes, and everybody makes mistakes. There's this sort of like a deep reminder of the nature of your own fallibility, your own judgmentalism, your own mistakes, and you see them for yourself. So when you see them for yourself, you see them like for her, in her case, exactly. When she saw that for herself, she saw that for John. When you see it for you, you see it for others. And it really it really helps you. It helps you become a better person. And the principles provide that. It's kind of like a divine mirror, in a way, like this wonderful, beautiful mirror that reflects back to you, and you become conscious of that reflection. You become aware of the divinity of this beauty, this beautiful feeling feedback system that is coming from every thought you think. And some of your thoughts are not that pretty. You know, some of them are negative or complaining or judgmental, but if you're not awake to them, they will seem justified, won't they? You know, and she had lived with this justification of being, you know, cheated by her ex for 10 years, and was perfectly fine carrying that. And when she saw what she saw, it disappeared. And by the way,
It didn't disappear. It morphed, or it what's transmuted
or transcended, or trans into what? What did it transcend into?
Actually, I've never once since then, and that was when I was 27, and I'm 72 now, so it's been a while. it transmuted it into knowing that we all make mistakes. I don't have judgment about myself about that. I don't have judgment about other people about that. I can definitely speak up for myself if I need to. I say, oh, I don't want you to do that to me, you know. No problem speaking up. But it's been nice not living with the judgment, and actually living with compassion. I didn't know much about, I was pretty young, and I came from a household that was very functional, with a lot of friends who were very functional, and this really helped me to know something honest about life that I can see. And it really helps you. It helps you love people and respect them and not be judgmental of them. That's got to be good.
And for me, the flip side of that also is it's helped me, the principles have helped me to see the error of my ways and apologize. So like I needed to apologize very sincerely to a group of supervisees that I was working with this week. And I really meant it. And it really, because I had behaved very badly and very, and I was cavalier about it. I didn't really even realize that I had hurt someone. And when they brought it up, I thought, oh my God, you know, thank you. And I felt very touched by the courage they had to bring it up to me, and I could very sincerely apologize. And there was another person on that same call that I think was felt like, you know, there's a term where you kind of pile on. If someone did something wrong to someone else and they did the same wrong to you, well, and the other person brings it up, well, then you can really throw in with that other person. So yeah, and you did that to me too. Well, I felt this other person started in to tell her story about how awful I was to them. And then but in the sincerity of my apologies, she stopped in her tracks, and I think she really realized, oh, that I have no, I think she realized for herself, she had no business carrying it any further, you know, that it was, I think she found forgiveness for me, because, and I found forgiveness for myself. I found that I could make a mistake and then get over it, and not judge myself as being so uncaring. So these ripple effects are what you get to enjoy in your life, and I get to enjoy in my life because I can get over myself, and I can get over my my mistakes. So I'm very happy about.
Isn't it awesome to get to really change?
Yeah, you really get to change.
Yeah. And it's happening through insight, because this was not intellectual inquiry on my part. It was insightful stuff coming to me deeper than what I had had before. And I could tell that. So I knew that I had met Sid Banks. I knew what he had talked about. And I thought, look, if something great could happen for him, something great could happen for me too. I don't know what it might be, but I like, yeah, I like to hope that that happened. And I could tell that he wasn't the nicest person before he learned what he learned, because I got to meet his wife and his kids and his mother-in-law and his friends. And he would tell stories and they would tell stories. And I was thinking, well, you weren't really all that nice, were you? But boy, he was once he saw what he saw and transformed. Transformation, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have to give myself any more pep talks about this. You know, oh, be nice to John, you know, or something like that. Or be nice to Keith. But it helped me tremendously with all my relationships, my mom, my friends, Keith. Because I could be harsh. I was harsh. Wasn't I harsh?
Mhm, yeah.
Yes. Oh, don't agree quite that quick.
Let me think about it. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then one of the next things that I learned, I mean, I knew that that was not, that was a big deal, that I got to transform. And I knew that Sydney had transformed, and I had transformed. And I didn't feel egotistical about it or proud of it. I felt thankful and really so glad that what he was talking about was something that could help me out, and that it was beyond my, I don't know why that happened to me, or you know, it was so powerful or anything like that. But I knew that it was like it needed an asterisk beside it or something in my life. Um, I think the next thing that happened for me was separate realities. Keith and Joe were headed to, is it okay if I tell this?
Sure.
Okay. They were headed to Mayo Clinic to teach. And I had been seeing the principles as a paradigm. It was getting very clear that this thing only worked one way. And when I know that something only works one way, I know that I've hit a paradigm. And I wasn't even looking for one. So they had to go catch the plane. I need to help them with some of the basic, what did I call them?
Well, implications.
Implications, yeah. It was more I thought of it as the basic logic. Now, not intellectual like knowledge, but wisdom that went along with the three principles only work one way, therefore they constitute a paradigm, which was thrilling to me. I'd never been able to see the scientific side of the principles. And boy, it was great. And I thought, separate realities. We are all actually feeling our own thinking. And there's nobody that has a different deal. Everybody got the same deal. So I could see that I think I kept waiting for Keith and I to have a meeting of the minds. You hear people say things like that. And so I thought, okay, I'd like some of that. And then I realized, look, I can't think like him. He can't think like me. And we're never going to have a meeting of the minds that I was thinking about, the kind. And I got very clear that we thought differently. And that's perfectly okay. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So it was great for me to let him be him, let me be me. That really cut down on the arguments tremendously. And so I was telling him, I told him what I was seeing, and so we just started doing better. We would even have arguments about things we didn't even know anything about. That was the best. As you know, we'd get to talking on a subject and I'd have one idea and he'd have a different idea. And then pretty soon we'd be arguing about it. And then I would think, neither one of us knows a thing about this. Maybe we ought to just quit. And so I'd say, why don't we just drop this one and leave it alone? We don't really know. So you just get to, there's all sorts of things you can learn about yourself and your partner. And it was just, once again, compassion with separate realities. The other person's not trying to rain on your parade. Most of the time, they're just trying to tell you how they see something, and it's different than how you see it, and that's okay. What did you think about separate realities?
Well, it got to be so, it continues to be a revelation. It's not like I would say, well, I get it but I don't, but it's like, oh, there it is. I see it, then I see separate realities, and I think, glory to God, like glory to the way the mind works, that the mind will give you an experience of your thinking, whether it's conscious or unconscious thinking, it'll give it to you. And that's working for them and everyone all the time, throughout history, and it's a kind of like a cosmic reminder of the truth of it. And that really, for me, I keep finding the truth again and again and again. Not to say that I'm walking around in full knowledge of it, but I get glimmers, I get pieces, I get insights, and it really, boy, they really help me to, it helps me actually to be a better listener. And to be more respectful, to listen, and because there's so much I don't know about how someone thinks, how they see it, and I can, it gives me pause rather than just running in roughshod over someone else's thinking as if it's inconsequential. It's not. It's a mystery to me, and because it's a mystery, I think you can listen. It sharpens your listening instincts to be more receptive rather than reactive and judgmental. And again, I am no expert at that, but I'm a student of it, and and it really helps me to be more open and not make suppositions and judgments, and be so quick to think I know. It's really silly, to really be trapped in a little world and thinking you're an expert, that you know it all. Like, it's like, what were you thinking? Like, but I get that. What was I thinking? Regularly, and it helps me again and again and again and again. And I think the principles have that a kind of a continuing education process open for us to help us be better better human beings and better people.
It's funny, it gives me a way to talk to Keith about, I can say now, I'm thinking that you think that I think like you do about this. But I said, I'm absolutely sure that I don't. And I said, I think this is a separate realities thing. And he knows what that means. And it gives us a framework to talk about it. That's not just I'm right and you're wrong, or you're right and I'm wrong. It gives you some guidelines to go by that you can both be respectful of. And so we can treat one another better, and we do. But I don't like it very much when somebody assumes they know what I think. I don't take to it very well. And I'm usually going to have something to say about it. And if I have this framework, I can do it nicer. And we work with so many couples. It helps them so much. Things that they've been fighting over for 10, 20, 30 years. They transcend it. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it disappears. It's not really,
Yeah.
they're not activated by that conflict and that tension and that judgmentalism. It diffuses it, and you can listen or be respectful or you could be different. You can change
Easily.
Yeah.
When you understand something beyond what you used to understand, it's extremely beneficial to your relationships. Anybody have anything they'd like to say?
Yeah. Questions or comments?
We've just been talking and talking.
I guess we had a lot to say.
Yeah, Valda. Hi, Keith. It's Jim. Yeah, Keith shared that story with me before. And what I hear, and it's interesting, is that I realize now all my feelings come from my thought. So I had a situation like that with an ex-boyfriend, but then I had to ask myself, what am I really thinking? He went out with the credit card and was spending money. So my first thought in the past before the program, I would be so angry at him, like, what the heck is he doing? And I made it all about him. Now I get back when that happens, I go, what am I really thinking? Because I've learned nobody has the power to make me think or feel. Only I can do that. So I now look at it, what's going on. Now, not just relationships with boyfriends, work, and Keith was marvelous in helping me with this. I used to get fired from more jobs than I can count because I would blame my boss for everything that went wrong. Now, when my boss asks me to do something and I feel angry, I ask myself, instead of being angry at him, I go, what am I thinking? And it usually comes to fear. And then when I go, oh, I'm afraid I'm not going to do this right. So in the past, I would have said, you're making me angry. No, I am thinking that I'm scared and I don't know what I need to do to figure it out. So now that's how I focus on things. When I feel that it's coming from the external, I go, no, it's not. What am I thinking? And I try to walk it through. And that's where the principles of keeping the focus on myself, realizing that feelings do not come from you. They can only come from with me. That's been my experience.
That's great. That'll help you so much. You just keep learning about yourself. You get to be insightful about yourself. And that feels good. You can feel the move forward about that. The others, same old, same old. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. And one of the things I'm reminded of Sid said is that when you start on this journey, and you begin to learn, you get a glimpse about the principles, and just a glimpse is all you need. But that's a journey towards discovering self, like, and it's the spiritual nature of self, not your little ego self, not your little self, not me, my wishes, and all of that, but it's about the self, the self, the universal self, the divine self, the self that you, where you are connected to everything, and you can't not be. But you get to find out about that greater self, and one of the things I remember when I first met Sid, he had one recording. It was a little cassette, and it was called The Missing Link. And on the front of it was this picture, and then it said, it had this quote that said, inside of you, there's something so beautiful. If I can bring it out, I'll have a friend for eternity. And I studied that. I thought about that, and I realized again and again and again throughout all these many years now, even long after he's gone, that the truth of that is still true, and it's still true for everyone who catches a glimmer of the principles. So I've been very fortunate that way too. And I always say, you know, and I know you guys have probably heard me say this, but get a hold of any recordings that you can of Sydney Banks and listen to them, because you
prepare to change.
yeah, prepare to change. Anything else, anyone? Comments, questions? This is our town hall, so nothing.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi,
Thank you
Hi,
for
Lori.
inviting me.
thank you for inviting her.
I'm happy to be here. Anyway, that's all. Oh, you can only hear me?
No, we can
I
see
just
you.
didn't know which one you were.
Oh.
The
Well,
yellow
your
mark.
hair is blonder than when I saw you last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to see you guys. Happy summer.
Yeah, good to see you too. Maddie had a baby.
She did?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I think he's
What are-
3 weeks old.
What are we? So are you grandma and grandpa right now? Is he
Yeah.
calling you anything yet?
No,
He's
no.
not talking yet. He
Yeah,
does make noises, but not talking yet.
yeah. He's only
He's
3 weeks old.
weeks
He's not carrying on conversations yet. Yeah.
He's cute as a bug.
Oh, well, I would love to see a picture. That congratulations. What a fun new adventure for the two of you.
Yeah.
And Maddie, give
Yeah.
her my congratulations.
I will. And she's got a great fellow. And if
Aw,
she wouldn't have gotten pregnant if she hadn't have had a great fellow. This guy is remarkable. Anyway, I thought you might not know, so.
I didn't know, and I'm so happy to hear that. She's
I keep up with you by somebody, but I can't remember who it is.
oh well, maybe Sandy.
No, I don't think it is Sandy. It doesn't matter.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that we could go through some names.
Yeah.
But we won't, not right here.
Right.
It's good to see everybody. I don't really know who else is on here.
There's a bunch.
Do you have anything you want to say, or you just? Hi.
Okay, well, I guess I could ask a question. I guess for me lately, it was funny, I was taking out the trash, and as I was walking out there, I was thinking about something, and I thought, gosh, Lori, you know, sometimes you could like take your own advice that you give your clients. And what was occurring to me was just this like thing I'm always trying to convince my clients of, that like, if we sort of like trust and we let go, that things do unfold. And there can be sometimes some magic to that unfolding. And it is what it is, and life happens. And you know, like, you know, a couple of recent events for me, mail gets stolen and then magically found. So I know it was stolen, but so I can resend it out. And, you know, like life happens, but like there's a grace that we can go through life with. And if we sort of know that, then it's like we sort of get knocked down like a Bobo doll or whatever, and then we bounce back up. And it's just it's nice to have that. That I still find myself at times within my relationship, my past relationship, you know, like thinking I'm the bad guy. And I know that's not true. I know there aren't bad guys. I know all that. I know. But I still struggle with self-worth. And I know where self-worth lies. I know. But like that's where my blind spots are. That's where I like forget. And I want to take responsibility because I want to be a good person, you know, like I want to be fair. And so like it was pretty cool to see, like I just happened to open my email and there was a town hall meeting and I just jumped on. So I guess if you guys can maybe speak to that I just sort of blurted out, that would be kind of still, you know, once you're a parent with someone, you're always a parent. But the kids are amazing.
Well, I think one of the things that I found, because when you can redefine your feelings as thought, which they are, your use of the power of thought, the neutral power of thought, your feelings are coming from your use of that power, rather than them coming from something else. Like if you get that primary truth, the primary fact of thought, that the supreme, what's it called, the ultimate answer of thought, then the feeling of lack of self-worth, for example, or judgmentalism or self-judgmentalism, which is really what lack of self-worth is, all those categories, all those blindnesses, you mentioned, all of them are negativities and fears, but they are all thought. And by switching the feeling of them to the fact of thought, and your use of thought, even in those kind of chronic recurring episodes or feeling states or that I go through, you begin to wake up to them, and if you know in fact that too is thought. Fear is thought. Low self-esteem is thought. It's not anything other than that. And I think when you see what it is fundamentally, it kind of trumps the carrying on with it as though it were a mood or a problem or a hang up or a blind spot or whatever else you layer onto it, begins to get undercut and undercut and undercut and undercut, because that too is thought. So, but there are things that don't look like thought at the outset, but they are, and that's one, and that really will help us on an ongoing basis. And now sometimes you get a little in a hurry. You want it to help you with this feeling now, and well, you haven't quite seen it yet as thought. You still think it's got something to do with your worth, or you have additions. You're stacking thoughts, negative thoughts onto negative thoughts onto negative thoughts, and so it looks like it's got something more to it than it really is. All those individual feelings and all those individual experiences are thought, fundamentally, absolutely. And that, I think that really going upstream, going back to the source of feeling as thought, as a gift, as the gift of your thought, primarily, fundamentally, absolutely. Like in when artists have primary colors and then they have mixtures, so like I don't know much about what I'm saying here, but I know that there's the blue and green are primary, but I know blue and yellow rather, I'm sorry, blue and yellow are primary colors. And then, but if you mix blue and yellow together, you can get green, but green is not a primary color. Blue and yellow is. And so when you see how that works scientifically, I think you're just less and less and less and less, forever less and less and less tempted to believe that the green that's showing up is all that's really what that is. That's not green. It's blue mixed with yellow. So when you get to the root of something, you're a lot less tempted to believe in the experience of, for example, low self-esteem or low self-worth. It's not true. It's just a negative feeling coming from thought. And when you get that root cause of it, it undercuts the illusion of that it's coming from something else. It's all thought. So I found that to be true.
Yeah. Whenever I realize that a paradigm means a lot to me, it means it only works one way. And that's an enormous amount of understanding about something. It can keep you from heading down the wrong direction time after time after time. And when I saw that the principles constituted a paradigm, I drew the chart back there. And oh, we don't have the little one on our desk anymore, do we?
It's around here somewhere, but I don't have it at my fingertips.
And is it hard to turn the big one? Oh, do you have it in here?
Maybe.
On the other side of this, on the other side of this chart, it has where we're headed, and it's to the single paradigm. No, here's the single paradigm. And the outside in doesn't really exist. It is not how things work. And when I used to use a paper flip chart, and I would tear the outside in off. It was very dramatic. And I would wad it up and throw it over into the corner of the room. But when I did the first time I did it, I thought it doesn't exist at all. And it just, I thought, boy, when I know that it doesn't exist at all, it is a lot easier for me to not get tricked by it. Is Hank ready to ask a question, or he's just moving around? Who's moving around? So So I thought when it's amazing when you know something that's true about something, it's a lot easier to ignore it. What is that thing that I said in some piece? We don't remember it, do we?
Yeah,
You do?
yeah, I can probably find it here. There's one sentence that Valda wrote in an article, and it said, well, two sentences. No one could have a psychological spiritual experience without the three principles. When we know something is not possible, it is far less tempting for us to think about than when we think it is possible. And that, to me, it really defines that red line when you and not to say that feelings, low self-esteem feelings or negative feelings will never occur, because you, even unconsciously, you can generate them, but and your mind will bring them to experience, but if you know that that's like fundamentally, absolutely, that was one of the things that Sydney really talked about, was positivity, the positive feeling. Because he said that in the house of God, there are no positive feeling, there are no negative feelings. And the negativity is it's just fear. And knowing that that's ruled out in principle, then I think you begin to find more, you go forward more with things, and fear decreases. It's just exactly what Jim said had been happening for him. He, rather than thinking it had to do with something else, he's more conscious that it has to do with, his anger had to do with his own angry thinking. And that really, it makes you doubt the legitimacy of your negative feeling. And that really, that's profoundly helpful for all people. The principles really bring a completely new comprehension of feeling as thought, and negative feeling as thinking, rather than some other legitimate source of it. So the positive feelings that you have, they're not really in doubt, but it's the negative ones that are revealed to you as not in keeping with the paradigm. And when this paradigm gets established and then reestablished and established again and again and again and again and again, forever, you become more, you become, you do better. You just feel better. You see better. You think better. You feel better.
I didn't know I was going to get help like that. I pretty much have been pretty dependent upon my strength of character and such to get me through things. And that was like an added bonus help that it logically made sense that if something doesn't exist, I don't have to be afraid of it. And I don't have to manufacture the cheerleader in me to cheerlead for it. It's already true. And I thought, now that's helpful to me. That helps me out every day. I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate. In some training that I taught, I told them that the yolk was already in the egg and it's already come back to haunt me. So, but it is, it's like that truth is already there. I didn't make it up. I don't have to clap for it or, I just, it's there. And that helps me to know something about intelligence beyond my intelligence, which I really appreciate because it's a little hard for me to come by that kind of thinking. But when you see something that you know was true long before you ever had the idea of it, it can be very enlightening.
One of the things that Sid says in our book that we're working on is that the modern day psychology is made up, doesn't reflect the wisdom of the ages. And what he was talking about, the truth that he was talking about is the truth of the wisdom of the ages. And the wisdom of the ages is immortal. It's not, it's paradigmatic. It's not man-made. It's the way it is. And finding out the way it is psychologically, feeling wise, the way it is, the way it is, the way it is, it will continue to wake you up to your own misunderstandings, your own illusions, your own negativities. And wow, that's you're built for self-realization. And you're but if you don't know, if you don't hear that or know that, or I mean, it really has helped me to face that I am built for divine revelation, self-realization, and so is everyone. If we can see how to not fight it with our egotisms. And that's a big if, but it's also completely not true. The truth is that everyone's truth is the same.
I find it interesting that as human beings, we all come up with this, that our feeling is coming from something other than thought in the moment. And it is very deceptive. Because if he's been in a foul humor, it's really hard for me not to say, well, he's the problem. And or whoever you're in relationship with. I can think of, I love my mother, but we had differences. And so it would get hard. And now it's all just easy, which is great. And she's even passed on, and it's still great. I have differences with my daughter. She's absolutely not going to let me tell her what to do. She's steadfast and I know it. And every now and then I say, well, you could move the couch over there and then move that, and then I get the blowback. And I think, oh, why did I say that? She doesn't need my help. So will I ever learn? I don't know. But this comes to rescue me very often. And I appreciate the help. I love that I can be nicer to Keith. That's wonderful.
Hi, Keith. Hi, Valda.
Hi there, how you doing? Where
Hey,
are you?
Gil.
Wave to me.
I know your voice.
Oh, hey there, yeah. Hi. It's that hat.
It's that hat that does it, yeah. My tennis hat. So I have about 105 questions. How much time do you have?
Oh, good. I love this. Go for it.
Well, the current one that's on my mind, just with what you were just talking about, is when we see a lot of negative, what I would judge to be negative thinking and negative feeling going on society-wise and culture-wise, maybe it's just being reported on a lot more. Maybe it's not any more than it ever was, but I mean, how do you process for yourselves when I think society and culture rewards negative thinking quite a lot? And again, I guess it's just to take care of it in ourselves and all, but it just seems to be that, it's so rampant nowadays, and a lot of it coming out every day that, I mean, do you guys ever get caught up in that loop, or that, I guess, I don't know, sadness or something about all the negative thinking and feeling that's going on in society today? So,
Well, it's wonderful to know what the problem is about that. They think that the outside in is real and that it works that way. That's very helpful that somebody as goofy as I am could know that. And somebody as goofy as he is could know that. So
That's wisdom beyond your undeserved wisdom.
oh,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
And I don't get very hung up on it. I know that it's out there. I know I'm going to encounter it. I don't wish it away. I know it's extremely deceptive, because it's so deceptive it fools me sometimes. So I mean, and I've had the good fortune of meeting Sidney Banks and being taught by him. So what are these other people? They just don't know. And then for me, that puts it upon me to find the best way that I can to communicate what I know and live by. And I like that growing edge. That's very encouraging to me, that I can find new ways, new words, new ways to talk. I never fancied myself a teacher, nor did I ever want to be one, nor did I ever want to talk in front of groups. But so what? I think I think you're just going to learn more and more and more as you go along. See it.
even as I asked that question, I realized, well, I'm making judgment there that they are having negative thinking or negative feeling. That's a judgment,
Yeah.
I can't know that for sure. They probably don't think that they're thinking negatively and all. So
They think they're seeing it clearly, and
yeah,
they're
it's a
talking about
separate
it.
reality there. So
Yeah. There's a lot of so much of the three principles can help you, about stuff like that. I know I'm going to lose sight of it from time to time. I'm absolutely sure of it. And I don't feel like a Debbie Downer in saying that. It's just going to happen. Some of it is very tempting.
Mhm.
Keith and
And
Valda,
if-
I realize the time is getting somewhat less, and we have two people who have
Okay.
their hands raised for a little while.
Okay.
Maybe we could do. Hannah's had her hand raised for a while, and then Russell joined in recently. Maybe we can see if we
Okay.
can get those.
All right.
Hi. I don't know
Hi.
if you see me. I'm waving in the dark here
Oh, I
from
see you now.
Stockholm, Sweden. It's quite at night here. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, I was thinking about, it was interesting that you brought up relationships, because me and my husband were talking today about boundaries. Because I had a friend that tagged me on Facebook and wrote something about me on Facebook that I didn't feel was kind of respectful. And then I felt my thinking around that. But then it's the question, should I say something to him or not? Because this have been happening like many times. So should I just try to see it in a different way? And there I got stuck a bit. So I wonder if you could say something around boundaries in relationships overall, what you see. Or
I don't think in terms of boundaries. I think in terms of what I can do better next time. But I'm just wired that way. I don't know what you could say about it.
Well, I think I would say the same thing. That I think the notion of boundaries is what Sid was talking about as the practices, etc., of modern day psychology, and the wisdom of the ages is much deeper. And I think as you see that, you go for the deeper. And if you go for the deeper, you'll be better off regardless. There's something about there's certain negativities that I think from wisdom. The experience of wisdom is not an intellectual idea, but it's a feeling. It's an experience, and that feeling is very it's full packed with information and well-being. It's a different order of than modern day concepts and beliefs and theories, and that is that's really helpful. So I if you can think in those terms, I think you'll find you might find a better answer. So you won't be, I think when you get in a kind of a bind, should I or shouldn't I? What about them? How do they think? Shouldn't I tackle this or whatever? There can be a kind of a struggle and a sort of like a tension and a conflict. Wisdom doesn't really have that kind of negativity in it, and you'll find something for yourself that will be a better direction and better. It's not to say that you're a mamby-pamby pie in the sky person with their head in the clouds, kind of ineffectual lame brain, but it doesn't have that sort of future for yourself. It has a future for a different future like Valda found, in her story at the beginning, she found something that really solved the problem, fundamentally solved the problem. And she hasn't, in the 44 years since that happened, she's never brought it up to me again. But when you find a way to solve something at a root cause, you've really found you really found tremendously important for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for your question. Russell, did you have a question?
Just a quick question. Yes. Hello.
Hi.
And thank you for the talk today. That's really good. My question is in regard to a person's physiologic or neurologic state causing a particular feeling. For example, if a person's hungry or dehydrated or has a brain tumor sitting on his amygdala, that has the possibility of causing a person to feel a certain way, maybe angry or upset or emotionally unstable. And I'm wondering if you would address the relationship between that and the feeling coming from our thinking in the moment.
Well, the thing I'm reminded of is that you can't rule out the metaphysical, the metaphysics of the principles you can't rule it out. And so I think that really will help people. Like I know people that live with chronic disease, with they're very severely handicapped, physiologically, et cetera, but they still are conscious beings, and they and that so I and it really helped me. This is a simple thing, but when Sid said mind is not brain, brain is physical, mind is spiritual, and you can't relegate the spiritual to the physical. It's a different paradigm. It's a different order of knowledge, and people have that order of knowledge. It's a truth, and it really helps them in surprising ways, with all kinds of. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to cure, but it helps them. It helps them to find something beyond the physical. The principles are not about the body. They're about the soul, about God, about thought, and how they provide guidance for us and wisdom for us beyond our measure and beyond our means. And so and that dimension is because it's formless, it can be easily missed or dismissed. We see the physical, we think we see the physical, but that's in our, that the pattern of life that Sid found was a cosmic pattern of thought and matter. And don't, as much as you can, don't dismiss the thought part and make it be separate from the matter part. It's a cosmic pattern of thought and matter. So any light you could shed on the spiritual aspect will, I think, can bring it better into focus, because you'll see people in all kinds of different physical conditions who are who think they think differently, and the principles bring something out about victimization. You begin to see people not living under the illusion of victimization. They do. Well, it's been a great.
Right. We have a friend. We're talking to Russell, aren't we?
Yeah.
We have a friend who had a stroke at age what?
I don't know which. 75.
Somewhere around 75. So she'd had a life of being completely capable for a good long time. And she had a stroke, and one of her sides, right or left, I don't know, was paralyzed. And she's just remarkably resilient. She doesn't feel sorry for herself. She doesn't feel sorry for the things she can't do. To call up and talk with her is just a delight. And but she knows what's true. And so she carries on in a very amazing way. She can encourage other people and help their spirits, and does. And when you know that somebody, my brother-in-law used to get a headache if he didn't eat at a certain time, which was just crazy to me. I couldn't imagine such a thing. But I knew that about him, and I cut him some slack. I'm thinking he's probably going to bitch a little bit now, because he hadn't eaten. And that's okay. I can live with that. Now, he had to live with it too, and it was of his making, because he could have just kept his mouth shut about it. But and so there's all sorts of things that people find out. Oh, we watched the ESPYs last night. Oh my, the things that these athletes have overcome. It's remarkable.
I think we forget that resilience is built into the principles. Like, the principles explain resilience. And my God, what a marvel. What a marvel. What a marvel life is, and human beings are. And we're all we're one of those.
Yeah.
And we can't not be. Well, hey, it's been a pleasure talking with you all today. Thank you all for your attendance and your questions, your comments. We love you all, and thank you. And I look forward to talking to you at our next town hall. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks.
Well,
Bye.